equity in health is also a big thing, which is one of the 17 SDG goals of United Nations, which we have to achieve by 2030, right? So that is the main thing which was, spoken by Professor Padma Vibhushan, Dr. Mashelkar, is equitable equality we always spoke about, but equitable. So here, if you see, even United Nations speaks about equitable access to quality and affordable healthcare. How can we Indians, starting from our students, our scientists, our faculty members, how can we work towards achieving that in India? You know the concerns and challenges of our country. High volumes, socioeconomic strata. We are aware of, we have different verticals of from allopathic medicine to Ayurvedic to Unani to homeopathy. So there were so many facets of our healthcare system, plus diagnostics and interventional Medicare. So I remember speaking to Shidhay madam that, with pharma industry 4.0, if our students don't gear up for artificial intelligence, use of cloud computing, robotics in pharma industry, which is going to pan out in the next 5 to 10 years, our students in the team of manufacturing and operations and also quality control and assurance may falter when IT experts join the team, which they would eventually. Right? Automation is going much beyond, what we knew as automation, right? Which we knew as Industry 3.0 in pharma. So I feel artificial intelligence is very, very important to be, at least the basic insight students should have, so that they do not falter in their workplace and they do not feel as if they don't know it. So we equip them with that information. Likewise, data analytics in healthcare, big thing. We have seen how pharmacoeconomics and healthcare-related pragmatic decisions, objective decision making is absolutely based on data analytics. And today we are dealing with data which is huge in volumes. It is not possible to do it individually in a manual manner. So use of data analytics is a very important tool, which can not only apply to healthcare per se, clinical trials, but also in our research in the universities and the colleges. Clinical data management, another one area where there is bulk recruitment of our students. And if we can train them in CDM, the jargons, the concepts, the lag time or the buffer time required for students to get their industry training and get work ready in their respective jobs would reduce. And that will be a value add which institutes will offer, to the industries and the companies which are recruiting their students, where this course is offered as a value added course. And IPR, lesser said, we have been, remember TIFAC during the 90s, we came to understand the importance of patenting. And when we talk about Make in India, Atmanirbhar Bharat, especially in diagnostic and devices and healthcare, COVID-19 was a eye-opener, and we understood the importance of being dependent on our own resources and also sustaining it, for this generation and the future generation. So I feel intellectual property rights and this protection is very important for us to innovate and to protect our products and ideas, so that we can make them in India and also probably scale up and commercialize in rest of the world. So that is what the advantage, and it can be a small idea. The other day, some examples which Dr. Mashelkar gave was by students who have just passed out in their 20s, coming out with some very non-invasive, wonderful methods of anemia testing, of at home entire blood, what we do it in the ICU, blood parameters, vitals at home at fraction of the cost. So this, the out-of-the-box thinking of the youngsters is something we can leverage on by equipping them with this knowledge. So I think it is a very good, endeavor by Dr. Supriya Shidhe, hosted by VES College of Pharmacy and their faculty. Thanks to the faculty of VES College and Madam and the entire team of Board of Studies in Pharmacy. all who have joined us today, the resource persons, faculty, I would request, madam, that you record the sessions and then project it as a YouTube link to all the teachers, and even required to the students, because what happens sometimes, students need induction to understand why they should opt for a value added course. So you can do that so that they can just watch the video and take a call whether they want to take it or not, and that will be a good sort of a induction. You need not take separate induction programs, and your resource persons are going to give an excellent splendid series of overview of what these courses are all about and their applications in the job life, in other aspects of the professional life. With this, I would like to thank ma'am for giving me an opportunity to speak in this orientation session. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We have been fortunate enough to be backed by you and Board of Studies Pharmacy, a team of dedicated staff who are well versed in their job. I now invite our principal ma'am and chairman, VES Pharmacy, University of Mumbai, Professor Supriya Shudhe, to explain the nuts and bolts of the program. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Neha. At the outset, I would like to welcome Dean, Faculty of Science and Technology, University of Mumbai, Dr. Anuradha Majumdar. Madam, thank you very much, madam, for gracing this occasion. I also welcome the speakers of the day, the industry experts, Dr. Sadhana Sathe, Professor ICT, Dr. C.D. Deshmukh, Director VES Business School, uh, Dr. Devend Babre, Director Analytics and Benchmarking, Digital Analytics and Performance, GSK, Dr. Vijayalakshmi, Vice Principal, VS Engineering, VS Institute of Technology, and Mr. Sunil Patil, co-founder, InnoRim. I would like to first mention a few words about our team. Madam, thank you very much for your compliments and your encouraging word for our Board of Studies. But I must accept that all this thing was made possible because of your guidance, your leadership, and your trust in our board. Because all decisions ultimately has to pass through number of levels, and because of your presence, everything got facilitated. Not only that, you have thought of many things and you have shared it with me, and then it was my probably sincerity that I trust you and I wanted always to keep your word. So I gave my best to fulfill the commitments and to live up to your expectations. We are very proud, madam, that a pharmacy fraternity represents Faculty of Science and Technology. It's a huge faculty, and all technocrats are there in this faculty, and you from pharmacy is heading it. That itself talks a lot about your competency, your abilities, your aptitude, and your opening remarks were very apt. You have set the right tone for this program, and you have very aptly mentioned about the significance of all these four programs. In fact, I'm not exaggerating when I am saying that madam is the these all programs are probably grandchildren of madam. Madam was constantly uh, uh, following up with me and our board for uh, for giving something in the domain of artificial intelligence, data analytics, and all those matters which are important in the today's scenario, which has lot of industry relevance. Now we have a challenge that we could not include it as a part of curriculum because all, as we all know, we have to follow the national level curriculum that is given by Pharmacy Council of India. Then we were thinking in what way we can introduce it so that our students get the advantage of it and they also become industry ready with all these latest technologies and trends that are being followed in healthcare. So we thought of conceiving the idea of value added courses, and these value added courses should have some kind of status, some kind of statutory approvals. So we approached director board of examination and evaluation, Dr. Vinod Patil sir, and he said that the pharmacy colleges affiliated to University of Mumbai can take up these courses, and you can just circulate to the university the list of students who have completed these courses successfully, And we also got the certificate pro forma approved by the dean and by the director. So the certificate will be signed by the host institute who has delivered this program, as well as by the University of Mumbai. And that is how the credential for this course would be very high. The state university is affiliating, or rather approving this course. It itself takes the course to the next level. And this was possible because of Dean Madam's presence and Director Vinod Patil sir's cooperation. So we are here now. I'm going to give you a brief about these four courses and what is that which is expected from the affiliated colleges. But before I give you that short briefing, I must acknowledge the speakers who are there today, the industry experts, starting with Dr. Vijayalakshmi Madam, who's Vice Principal of VES Institute of Technology. So this course was designed under her guidance. Also, our team, especially Mrs. Pradnya and Dr. Neha, they have referred to NPTEL portal. They have also referred to RUSA syllabi, and accordingly, they have modified the syllabus for AI in healthcare. And Vijayalakshmi Madam, with her team of Institute of Technology members, have done an immense contribution into it. Not only that, their team, under Madam's guidance, has delivered this course last year for our college. And this was taken so well by our students. It was really well received. And though we are pharmacy people, we understood every bit and piece of that course. And we also, Madam has made sure to make it explainable to people of pharma background. And that is how our students found it very interesting. And so we dared to take it to the next level of university because we have experimented it and it has given us a success. Thank you, Vijayalakshmi Madam, for your contribution. Thanks a lot for that. Uh, Talking about data analytics, we in our VES family, we have an expert in this field, data analytics, and he is Mr. Sachin, Dr. Sachin Deshmukh, who is director of VES Business School. So Dr. Deshmukh has already earned name and reputation for his expertise in data analytics and big data overview and studying it in the statistical point of view. So we were wondering whether our pharma people, pharma students would be able to take it up. But he gave us a confidence that if they have a basic statistical knowledge and they have basic maths knowledge, they will be able to learn and they will be able to apply it also. So this course was done by he and his team in a very experiential manner by giving workshops and case studies, and that is how our students enjoyed that course. Not only that, our faculty members also enjoyed this course. So both these success stories are with us, and only when we have experimented it, we have a confidence that we can propose it to the university level. And we never wanted to keep it confined to only the boundaries of VES College of Pharmacy. We wanted to open the doors to this course to for the entire University of Mumbai, so that every college, with the help of resource persons, can deliver this course for their students. And once that is done, students get a good edge over a conventional pharmacy graduation program in terms of these additional facets. And that is what is the dream, and that is what is the objective of Dean Madam, to propose such type of courses to be introduced. So we are very happy and very glad that University of Mumbai, through her facilitation role, has approved these courses. And very soon these courses will be available on the website of University of Mumbai. But Madam has given us a nod to now go ahead with the orientation program. After this orientation program is over, we are going to share the syllabus for all these courses. We will also share with all of you the certificate pro forma that is created for it. And then, Madam, we are requesting on behalf of pharmacy colleges, we are requesting you to put a word to Director Board of Examination and Evaluation Office that whosoever completes this course, they should be getting the certificate signed by the university as early as possible, so that the purpose of doing it under University of Mumbai will be well served and the students will have good credential in their CV while moving to the corporate life. This is my request to you, ma'am, to facilitate it at the university official level also, so that there is absolutely no hurdle whatsoever till students get the certificate signed. Uh, and then give me just 2 minutes, 1 minute time. I will share the screen with you all, and I will just take you through the uh, a very short PowerPoint which talks about the course. So here we go. We have proposed 4 courses: clinical data management, artificial intelligence, data analytics in healthcare, and intellectual property rights. So for each course, the syllabus that is designed is of 30 hours duration. Why 30 hours? Because if you see the guidelines of NAC or NBA, at least minimum 30 hours duration is required for any course to be called as a certificate course, add-on course. The intake capacity, so the students from all classes can enroll, and we recommend maximum 45 batch size for this course for effective delivery and effective experiential learning experience through this course. And who are going to deliver this course? So obviously, pharma graduates or postgraduates or a faculty of pharma people will not be able to deliver this course to entirety. So they will need subject experts from higher education institutes, especially from the background of engineering or background of business analytics. And also, we need to have the domain experts in the area of clinical research and intellectual property right for delivering these courses and making them practically very much relevant. So we have already defined the titles of the courses, and we have also defined the eligibility for artificial intelligence and data analytics. Any student pursuing undergraduation, post-graduation, or PhD program in pharmacy can take admission for this course. So here, even if he is from first year BPharm, he would be able to cope up because the course is simplified and it is starting with the basics. So any level of pharmacy graduate should be able to do it. For intellectual property and clinical data management, though we can allow entry at any level, we prefer a student completing second year of his BPharm as a right eligible students to take up these courses of IPR and clinical data management, because we expect some pharmacy knowledge to be gained by students before directly going ahead with the application of pharmacy in clinical data management, or the innovative thinking, creativity that is happening for intellectual property rights. Now we are going to have 2 modes of evaluation: the internal assessment, which is a continuous mode of assessment. This is very important because students, when something is outside the curriculum, students tend to take it lightly and they just attend it for the sake of certificate. Then the purpose of this program will get lost. It is very important that they study the basics and they are able to apply it through problem solving or case studies. So we are proposing 4 quizzes intermittently placed during the course, and this quiz for facilitation by the faculty for assessment, we are proposing the MCQs, but which are very much application oriented, and each MCQ, each test is of 20 minutes duration, and 10 questions will be set, each of 1 mark. Then towards the course completion, there has to be an end semester exam, which will be of again in the form of a MCQ, but the duration will be for 60 minutes, and there will be 30 MCQs, each of 2 marks. So, in order to have a good transparency and ethical practices, we propose to have multiple such sets to be uh, framed by the institute while conducting these quizzes, so that there is a fair way to attend the quiz and there will not be any malpractices. Then grading of performance. So there has to be some passing criteria. So the grading scale we have used same as that described by Pharmacy Council of India. So it is a scale on at the from 50 to 100, and if you are getting less than 50 marks, then you are passing that particular course, and you will have to reappear for the exam till you get minimum 50 marks until you become eligible for the grant of certificate. So this is important. Passing criteria has to be laid down. And what is the process for the certification? So as I mentioned, this certification will be, the examination will be conducted by the institute, the host institute, who has offered the course, with 50% as a passing criteria. And after that, once students become eligible for the certification, these certificates will be granted by the institute. But before that, these certificates will be signed by the principal of the institute, and along with the list of students who have been awarded the certificate, all the bunch of certificates will be then officially, with the covering note, will be sent to the office of examination section of University of Mumbai, to the director examination and board of examination and evaluation, for his final signature on the certificate. Now, in this certificate, we will have a logo of both the host institute and University of Mumbai. And then once that reaches through the principal to the board of examination and evaluation, the director will be signing these certificates, and then this will be returned to the host institute. So these authorizations are important. Once it gets authorized by the university, the institute will be ready for awarding it to the student. So that can be done by nice, through some nice felicitation program, so that students are encouraged to take interest in these courses, and they should also understand,
Difficult course.
and they will also be really fascinated by the status that they have got a certificate in particular area. And in fact, we should encourage students to undergo all these four courses which are affiliated to, or rather approved by University of Mumbai. And we are giving autonomy to all institutions to deliver it in the most creative way, by appointing experts from the industry and academia on the board. So that's it from my side, and over to our host for taking this program ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, madam. We will now commence the course-wise orientations by subject experts. For each course, a 15 minutes discussion will revolve around how that program is relevant and applicable to healthcare, and will give guidance about the course conduction. To commence with our technical sessions, I welcome the very inspiring Professor Vijay Lakshmi ma'am to orient the audience for AI ML for healthcare course. Professor Vijay Lakshmi is a proficient academician for 33 years in computer science related departments at VES Institute of Technology. She is the HOD and Vice Principal of the VES Institute of Technology, and her key research areas include artificial intelligence, data science, and related fields. She has more than 25 publications to her credit and has conducted several workshops all over Mumbai engineering colleges. Welcome, madam, and over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Neha and Dr. Shide. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So I would like to just have a presentation. So is it possible? Can I just present my resume?
Yes, ma'am.
I can? Okay, I'll just try it. Are you able to see it? I'm sharing it. I think that's it.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll just convert it into a slideshow. So I think Dr. Shite has talked about the logistics and everything of the course very well. So I'm going to stick to this particular course, AI in healthcare. As the brief given, it's going to be a 30-hour course, keeping all the accreditation and stuff in mind. So I would like to spend about a few minutes on why AI is important for a healthcare professional. We have seen lots of AI in the news. So one of the most recent cases is the COVID-19. Before the COVID-19, any antivirus or you can say vaccine, the minimum time period was about 4 to 5 years. And I think swine flu was among the fastest to get a vaccine, right? I think being pharmacologist, you will be able to have a more precise time limit for all this. But COVID-19 vaccines came up within 6 months. And one of the main reasons for that is, so you can see here, availability of clinical data. There is a course on clinical data management also. Availability of what we call as data analytics tools. There you have a course for that also. And ultimately, to put it all into place, we need technologies which are artificial intelligence. So AI, what we call as ML, are the guiding principles behind which we managed to get a vaccine of quite high efficacy within the first 6 months. So going ahead, it's a rapidly exploding field, right? You have this Nature magazine, you have Springer Nature, all of them totally devoted to AI in healthcare. Our own Indian success story, lot of AI for screening for diabetic retinopathy, right? We are a huge success story there. And hospitals are rolling out AI systems to keep patients dying from sepsis, right? So these are all some of the recent areas. You have lots of big companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Apple, all of them getting onto the bandwagon of AI for healthcare applications. And if I look at the AI in health, you will notice that the field of AI has been existing from the 1955. The term was coined in 1955, even before computers became proliferate. And from the 1960s, 80s, 2010 to 19, etc., you will be seeing that whenever AI applications are coming into picture, always there has been some sort of healthcare application that has been attached with it. And post 2019 onwards, drug discovery, preclinical research, what you call as precision medicine, personalized healthcare, all of these are basically fed by the AI researchers. And if I look at the AI healthcare landscape, this is what is a 2021 picture of all the big names who are into AI for healthcare. So I think this gives us a brief idea about, yes, AI has arrived and AI for healthcare is definitely to be looked into. So coming to the course, so it's a 30-hour course, a very brief overview of the course. And as Madam suggested, I think Dr. Majumdar Madam also said that we do not want our pharmacy graduates or postgraduates to be unaware of what is happening in the real world. And therefore, when they go into the company, at least they should know concepts of AI, what are there, what is this terminology, what it means, and so on. So in this particular course, we try to give an entire overview of the field of AI and ML. Very closely related to the field of AI is something called as Internet of Things, right? I'll just talk about it a minute later. So Internet of Things is basically device-based computing, you can say, to make it very short. And because ultimately healthcare is all about measurements and measuring so many different parameters from say different applications, from humans, etc. This concept of IoT is very closely associated with the field of AI, because AI can only work on data. And to get data, I need these devices and management of them. And that is where this concept of IoT will come into picture. So we expect that students get a flavor of that also. Also, for any AI, data analytics or clinical data management, etc., data is the key. So data, how to analyze this healthcare data, how to use some statistical tools or AI tools, All of that also we are going to give a very brief overview in this course. And ultimately, of course, a set of case studies in the healthcare domain. So that is basically what are the outcomes that we expect from this particular course of 30 hours. So I'm just going to very briefly talk about what is there in the course. So topic 1 talks about introduction, of course, overview, some terminology, some definitions and so on, and also a little more about the motivation and why we feel that a pharmacy graduate or postgraduate for that instance needs to be well versed with this field of AI and ML. We then talk about the concept of machine learning. So machine learning, artificial intelligence is a more holistic term, and a set of algorithms and procedures that follow AI principles is basically machine learning. More complex machine learning is what we call as the deep learning. And we have something called as reinforcement learning. So these are different types of learning techniques, moving from very, very simple AI to advanced AI. So here in this course, we'll be talking about only machine learning, right? And some different procedures which are very, very popular in the machine learning field and particularly relevant to healthcare. So we are going to look at these 3 algorithms. So decision tree, Bayesian classifier, and regression. There is absolutely no prerequisite for this course. Anybody with a 10th or 12th in mathematics and maybe a very, very, very small, sort of just brief knowledge about statistics. In fact, as the name suggests, Bayesian classifier, so Bayes rule and stuff like that, can appreciate this particular topic. So there is no prerequisite as much required. The second topic that third topic I should say, we are talking about is what we call as neural networks. So neural networks is a field of AI that has totally grown from the concept of trying to imitate how the human brain works. So if you look at the human brain, that is the most natural neural network available. So basically this topic also, to be more precise, should be artificial neural networks. Right? So I think when the course comes, we can try and change that name. So it's going to be artificial neural networks. So the original neural networks are basically brain, and they have tried to identify how the brain tries to compute and try and build programs or machines that can do the same thing. So this is very, very, very relevant to healthcare applications, because neural networks started by trying to get good healthcare applications. So we are going to look at models of neural networks. Another very, very important thing with healthcare is that lot of medical information and knowledge is available in the form of text, right? And it would be very convenient if all this text gets converted into a more sort of structured form, maybe some short form, converted into tables, etc., so that it's easier to understand and machines can work on it. So that is where natural language processing comes upon. So neural networks and natural language processing are very, very natural AI topics which are meant for healthcare. Then, of course, most of the medical data is in the form of images. So image data, to understand image data and so on, you need to look at how vision systems work, and therefore computer vision, not natural vision. Computer vision is again a very, very important aspect which we are going to cover in this particular topic. I talked about the Internet of Things briefly when we talked about the outcomes. So what is the, very, very simply, everything in the world is part of the Internet. So you have your smartphones, right? Now I read the other day that you were, I think not US, I think in China, they're trying out some sort of a research where a person can wear a ring and the ring will change color depending on certain parameters. And they are trying to use it for diabetes, so that as the ring changes color, you come to know if there is a sudden fall in sugar levels or whatever the case may be. So this is still in sort of clinical research stage. So what is happening is that ring is also going to be part of the internet. So it gets connected. So based on the color change, it's going to send information to the cloud. So Madam Majumdar talked about cloud related technologies also. So cloud, and there the data is going to be analyzed and then fed to some sort of an AI, which then starts indicating whether the person should start getting worried or doctors have to be on say backup and stuff like that, right? So Internet of Things basically means each and every device. In fact, they are also embedding. There are nowadays embeddable devices also. So if you are a very, very, very high risk patient and so on, so they are embedding some sort of devices, sensors you can say, into the body, and it keeps checking for all sorts of parameters. And all, it's just not doing that, it's also going to transfer this data to cloud. That is why it's part of the internet. Sorry. So how this works, what are the basics of Internet of Things, some use cases, and one of the very, very most important thing I talked about just now, remote patient monitoring. So we'll be looking at a few case studies here. As I said, there is diversity of digital health data. So all of you are familiar with all of this. So to take care of all this type of data, we need two things. I need to store that data in the system. Whether I'm going to use an AI tool, whether I'm going to use a data analytics tool, whatever it is, ultimately they are programs that work on data. So I need to have some standard representation of data. So I'm going to look at here not from the clinical point or healthcare point of view, which you will probably be doing in your CDM course, but here we are going to look at it from the computer programming point of view. How do I store that data in my system, right? A lot of time there are mistakes in the data, there is noise in the data, there are missing values, and I need to normalize the data. So all of them, how are you going to do and how it is done from the computer science point of view, that is what we are going to talk about in data representation. And following the data presentation, we are going to talk about data analytics tools. So ultimately, when I'm saying artificial intelligence, I cannot get data without programming. But now I want to make a point very, very clear, which you can also inform your students. There is no need for any rigorous programming that is required. The amount of healthcare platforms that are available now, there are so many, even free tools are available, which you can give to the students if they want to experiment on their own. Lot of data available, lot of tools available, but it is always good to know programming, because programming is now becoming like for the fourth R. No? You have heard of, all of us have heard of 3 R's, reading, writing, reading, and mathematics, and now computing or programming is the fourth R, which everybody needs to know. And anybody in the 12th standard has also learned programming, or they have done some online course on programming or whatever. And particularly interesting for AI is basically Python and R. And I would suggest Python is more universally preferred than R, because it's much more easier to use Python than R. So in this data analytics chapter, we'll give a very, very brief overview of the tool, Python and R. And we'll also show it with respect to how you can use these tools to do statistics and visualize data and so on. And visualizing data is very, very, very useful, especially for healthcare sort of applications. Right? So this is a full-fledged picture. Now we come to healthcare. The topics 5 and 6, they're general topics, but how to analyze or how to bring it all together with respect to healthcare. So this is where we are going to look at actual examples of some healthcare. Where are the sources? How to do? How to collect them? Whether we need to do some pre-processing of data and so on. Even for this, programs exist. AI programs exist to pick data, to pre-process data, to handle them, and then convert them to analytics. So AI tools exist for all of this, and that is what we are going to be looking at here. You can think that 5, 6, and 7 are very, very interrelated to each other. They can be done together also. We don't need to do them as a separate topic as such. So we can combine 5, 6, and 7 together. Then coming to 8 and 9, ultimately we are going to show a lot of example healthcare data sets which are available, and some case studies and future trends. So this is basically the syllabus. These are all the growth drivers for AI in healthcare. These are all the applications. I talked about it, so surgical robots, so on. So why I included this in the slide is, it will always be good if we can give something called as a capstone project associated with the course. It need not be part of the 30 hours, right? But all those who are interested can probably go ahead and do a project. And probably at the college level, you can give them a certificate that they have got this value added certificate along with the project certificate also. And I feel that brings out the efficiency of the course and improves the efficiency of the course to a high extent. And you don't need constant engagement. So probably the resource persons who are taking the course can help students with some project ideas and data sets and so on. They can work on their own and probably just interact with that teacher to say that yes, a project has been completed and so on. So I think I leave it to the dean and the board of studies members to think on these lines. So these are some of the references which are also given along with the syllabus. But I have also added some digital sources. Remember, this course is a very sample overview sort of a thing. So this may whet the interest of some of the students who want to do better. So you have free courses on Coursera, lot of them. There is a full AI for healthcare branch. If you go and see it, you will see some 400 to 500 courses which are all related to AI in healthcare. Then our own NPTEL has also several courses. Suppose somebody is interested in doing Python, so there are several courses on Python. They can do a brief course on Python and then pick up this course, and then they are ready to do projects and work with that sort of. And a lot of coding platforms, as I said, you don't really have to do full coding, but the coding platforms give you the black boxes, or you can say the building blocks of the course. So with very little coding, you can get an entire system up and running. And if students are interested, I think they can probably look into this. So this is basically what the 30-hour course will contain. And I thank you for giving me a patient hearing.
Thank you very much, Madam, for categorically explaining the curriculum of the course to our audience.